That opening right there, that is probably one of the greatest anime openings of all time. Now that's my personal opinion, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys can agree. Some of you will be surprised to know that this anime came out in 1992, almost 30 years ago. Now, most of us were introduced to the series in the early 2000s because that's when it was licensed to North America and other parts of the world, but still, that song and anime, that's almost 30 years old. I'm pretty sure that opening just got some of you guys dancing, and it's understandable. And I think we can all agree that that song is still as catchy and cool as when we first heard it. And that brings me to the reason why I'm starting this series called Old School Cool. Many great things in life, they tend to withstand the test of time. And that really couldn't be more true for film and media. A classic movie will always be a classic and will have the respect and admiration from future generations. And for me, Yu Yu Hakusho is just that in anime. I just want to say real quick that we all have different standards of what is old school, There is no definitive standard, but I have a very scientific and logical approach. I watched it when I was a really young boy, so old school. So the protagonist, Yusuke Urameshi, this man shoots people. Not with guns, but with his freaking fingers, okay? This mad lad just goes around fingering people to death. He doesn't care if you're human or a demon. He will find you, and he will finger you to death. I'm sorry. All jokes aside, I think Yusuke Urameshi is one of the founding fathers of this high school delinquent main character that is pretty common in anime these days. And not to take away from other good animes, but I really think that Yusuke made being someone who doesn't conform to rules and society cool. And I do want to emphasize that there is a huge difference from a narcissistic asshole who doesn't care about anything or anyone other than themselves, and someone who is just really dead honest with themselves and comfortable in their own skin. And Yusuke is 100% the latter case. So Yusuke is a delinquent in school. He's failing academically, he gets into a lot of fights, unwanted fights, and he doesn't really have friends. I can relate to that. Now, one would be quick to think that Yusuke is a douchebag. After all, he does kind of fit into that, stereotypical douchebag in school. But this man literally gave his life away to a random stranger without hesitation. And that's why Yusuke is cool. Yes, it was really heroic of him, and that's very admirable. But he really lived the way he wanted and died the way he wanted. Who cares if he was a D student? Well, everyone except Yusuke. But how many of us are actually brave enough to let go of expectations from friends, family, or society? As you grow older, you realize it's not as easy as it sounds. But that's who Yusuke was. And that became such a big part of his charisma that fans love and adore, and made Yusuke such a lovable main character to follow. Now, I may have spent too much time on one character, and trust me, I can keep going on about every single cool character in the series because, as we all know, Yu Yu Hakusho has so many lovable characters. But here's what I really love about the anime. Despite Yu Yu Hakusho being this sort of fighting, action-heavy Shonen Jump series, I really appreciate and love the non-fighting, human-to-human, or should I say demon-to-demon interaction between the crew. They made me, a little boy back then watching the show, as though I was part of this team, and that I was part of this supernatural demon journey. And that was magical and everything to me as a kid. During the Dark Tournament arc, it felt as if I was part of Team Urameshi, and had the team needed it, they knew that I had their backs. Although realistically, I would have been like a cheerleader kind of character, but that's how I felt. And I think the reason why I felt so attached and part of the team was because I saw a little bit of myself in each and one of them. And yes, I know I don't have a freaking third eye in my forehead, or I don't go around fingering demons to death, but you know, these so-called demons, they had a very human side to them that we can all relate to. Take Hiei, for example. He's been abandoned and judged wrongfully. Now, most of us don't have the experience of being abandoned by our ice village elders as an infant, but pretty sure we've all faced discrimination for being a certain way. That is not wrong. And much like Hiei, the other characters felt very easy to love because there was this mutual connection between us. And I remember watching the last episode, and it was particularly at the beach scene. I felt empty and void. And yes, it is that void that a lot of people feel when you finish a good show or an anime and you don't know what to do with your life. It was an emotion that I wasn't very accustomed to when I was a kid. I was happy and sad at the same time. I was happy that the boys achieved what they set out to do from the beginning of the journey that I have been a part of. But it also felt like a breakup. I would no longer be part of this amazing world and risky adventure that I had been a part of for a few months. No more laughing at Kuwabara, no more demon fingering. I swear that's the last fingering joke. But despite all the sadness that the series was finally over, it made me appreciate what the anime did for me. And I can proudly say that even after many years watching the show, I can still appreciate it as much as I did before, if not more. Yu Yu Hakusho was a show that was truly amazing in many aspects. It was a show with amazing characters, not just the main cast and villains, but several memorable and lovable side characters as well. And a series with really engaging fights that was way ahead of its time. And so what's better than starting a series like Old School Cool than with a kick-ass show like Yu Yu Hakusho from the 90s? Well, that pretty much sums up the video. I'm pretty sure I didn't go over every aspect that you guys personally love about the show, and lovable characters such as, you know, Toguro. I know he's awesome, but I wanted to talk about something else. So please leave a comment and share with us. I'd love to read it. And I want to thank you guys for watching the video. And if only you enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing and liking the video. It helps out a lot. And it's been a long video, and so I'll end it with a finger blast.